they break really easily. Man, every stud hole, like without doubt, 9 times out of 10, if not more, they're cracked. And also above the oil gallery on the turbo feed, it's quite common to get them cracked there because of the block twistings. Just buy one that's uncracked, it's got a bigger deck, it's got all those bits and pieces fixed, it's a sturdier block and it already comes machined. I think we're going to be up around the 3,000 horsepower level.
What do you do if you can't find an engine block that can handle the power and abuse that you want to throw at it? Well, of course, you make your own. We're here with Herman from Platinum Racing Products to talk about their cast Nissan RB26 block. Before we get into your new block, let's just talk about the problems we're facing. Why not just start with a brand new factory N1 block, for example? That used to be the holy grail.
Yeah, it used to be. You just can't get them. And they're still a bit weak. I mean, we still did a lot of testing on factory new blocks, and you had bores that were 2.2 millimetres. They're not good for anything over 800 horsepower. Every now and then you get lucky and you get one with 3.2 mil, and that's good for 1,200 horses. But still, 1,600 horsepower, you're going to crack it. It's only a matter of time.
So essentially, out of the factory, these blocks are inconsistent. And is this due to core shift?
Core shift, and the technology at the time hadn't really progressed. I mean, you can get some really beautiful castings these days, but that casting, obviously the tooling, they're still using the same type of tooling. So it hasn't really evolved a lot. They were only designed to make 208 kilowatts at the fly. They do that. So it's only when you start jamming them with boost, and obviously they've become a platform for a lot of modification, yeah, they break really easily. So we had to go somewhere.
The other thing is, even if you are starting with an existing engine, something that's obviously now probably got quite high Ks on it, often when we pull these apart, we find cracking and problems with the existing block, correct?
Man, every stud hole, like without doubt, 9 times out of 10, if not more, they're cracked, and it might only be 2 or 3 studs, or most of them, or half of them, but yeah, they're stuffed. And also above the oil gallery on the turbo feed, it's quite common to get them cracked there because of the block twisting, so you end up bracing them and doing all this sort of aftermarket work to a block, which raises the price to 13 or 14,000 bucks. Just buy one that's uncracked, it's got a bigger deck, it's got all those bits and pieces fixed, it's a sturdier block and it already comes machined. Way to go.
Well, let's talk about some of the features. When you're making your own block, you've obviously got a blank sheet of paper and you can kind of do whatever you want. So when there are so many combinations, particularly with people using RB30 blocks with stroker kits to gain more capacity, how did you sort of zero in on the right combination that you wanted to produce?
Well, I've always been passionate about the 26 block. We call it a short deck block. It sounds amazing. You can go to a 2.8 litre. You just can't go bigger than that because the bore is so thin, and you're only going to get that chasing a bigger bore. So I thought, well, why not get the best of both worlds and put a 3 litre rotating combination with a 79mm crank and a 90mm piston into a short deck block and end up with the best of all the worlds. It's strong, it makes power, it's got low down torque, it also wants to rev and it sounds amazing like the 2.8. Well, you can do that in a short deck block and steer away from the RB30 stuff because you just don't need it until you start getting up into the big drag car sort of stroker level.
Just coming back to the bore diameter, how you mentioned a 90mm piston there, so you can obviously go to that with your cast block. What's the largest bore diameter you could sort of reliably go to with a stock RB26 block?
You can go 86.5, and at 87 you've got problems, right? So at 1 mil over you're already out of scope. With our block we've got an 8mm bore at 86, so even going to 90mm you've got heaps of bore left.
Now, you also mentioned the thickness of the deck surface. So is this thicker than stock to help with head sealing or head gasket integrity?
Yeah, both. So they crack through the main studs. Well, main studs, the head studs, just because the stud ties don't go all the way to the bottom. They sort of shallow off. So you end up with these cracks along the deck. We've gone from a 5.5, 6mm is the best I've ever seen in an N1 for deck thickness. We've gone to 15mm at our extended deck. So even going down to a standard deck height, you've still got 12.5mm.
Okay, let's talk about that extended deck. So essentially what you're saying here is the block is very slightly taller than a stock block?
Yeah, so we're manufacturing them to cater for our RB30 block setup. So it's bigger bore diameter, which gives us the capacity, and a stroke on 79mm crank, you end up with 3.015 litres. So with all of that in mind, you can have the best of all of those worlds by combining what we know is going to make power and fulfill all the customers' requirements without going for the taller deck block. So yes, deck thickness is very important because they do obviously crack and twist the deck, and also doing that with the head gives you a better combination for more cylinder pressure.
Now, one of the other features I noticed in there, it looks like the bottom of the bores have been clearanced for stroker kits, so you don't have to manually do this to clearance the connecting rods.
That's right. There's been quite a lot of changes that we've done on the bottom end. There is a provision there for a 4-bolt main, although we haven't got to the point where we feel you need that yet, but we want to try and make thousands of horsepower with this block. We've also changed the way the whole bottom end works. We've got big oiling reliefs at the back of the block, married up with a standard head. It helps a lot, but with our head, we've got a whole oil channel that goes through the middle of the cylinder head and vents out through the block, and that goes all the way through the mains underneath the crankshaft, because the crank's what usually pushes the oil back up into the block in that back section. So yeah, when it comes to have we made some changes, well yes, absolutely as many as we could to give us the best result.
Essentially at this point, we've got decades of experience with building high-powered RBs, so you've been able to learn from all of the failure points and problems that you've seen with the stock parts and incorporate fixes into your aftermarket block.
Oh, absolutely. And look, we're still learning every day, but I started testing blocks not to make money, because we used to charge $250 to sonic hardness test and do all that stuff. It was just to gain experience on what we needed to look out for when designing our new block. So yeah, it's decades of experience to try and come up with the best bottom end combination, which now we're focusing on cylinder heads to tie them in together to ultimately create a crate engine. But yes, obviously we wanted to perfect it, and it will continue to evolve, but it's been a great journey.
In terms of power handling capability and RPM, where do you sort of see the limit for this block?
I think we're going to be up around the 3,000 horsepower level.
At that point, it sort of begs the question, is there still a room in the market for billet blocks, billet alloy blocks? Is this a replacement? Where are the pros and cons of each?
Billet alloy block, obviously they're light. And for drag racing, the cooling and thermal expansion is not such a problem, or not at all. So there's always going to be a market for that 1% of people that want to go and do a 3,000 horsepower pro mod or a drag car or any of that sort of thing. I'm more interested in the 99% up until you want to go and shave 40 kilograms out of that block. And in that instance, you know, there's plenty of market there as long as we keep promoting the RB industry, which is what we're working heavily with in the US. Huge population, man, there's a drink for everyone.
All right, if someone's in the market for one of these blocks, first of all, how much are they going to be looking at shelling out for something like that?
Base model with an OEM style cradle, 8800 Australian. Now that comes completely finished other than a hone. So go and work out what your tunnel bore and all that, and the length of time it gets to get all that done. You're saving on all of that. We've got an integrated brace version, which is our Big Daddy. That's 10.9, obviously all finished as well, tunnel board ready to go. So we do have 170 or something blocks pre-sold, so everyone's getting priority on where they place their order. But you can still order online now, pay the whole lot, or just pay a $100 deposit. And we're going to start probably catching up at the rate of 10 to 20 blocks a week. Up until we fill all those back orders, and then we will have them on the shelf. And if you break a block, you can just order one from PRP, and within a week you'll have one and you're building an engine.
If people want to find out more, where are they best to go?
Just hit up our socials or prp.world, the website. All the info's there, or send us an email or reach out however. But yeah, we get to people as quickly as we can.
Okay, thanks a lot, Herman.
Thanks you very much. Cheers, man.